Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Are Savannah, Chrisley, and Robert Shiver still together? Fans are dying to know if Savannah, Chrisley, and Robert Shiver are still together. There has not been much posted about the two in a while. However, there could be a reason for that. Savannah is extremely busy fighting for her parents' freedom. Keep reading to find out more about this. Savannah Chrisley is fighting for freedom. Savannah Chrisley is currently fighting for her parents' freedom. Todd and Julie Chrisley are in federal prison for tax evasion and fraud. Julie recently had a resentencing hearing. However, no time was shaved off of her sentence. This was extremely devastating for Savannah and her family. However, Savannah has made it clear that she is not going to stop fighting for her parents' freedom. Todd has also revealed that he is worried about Julie's health after getting the devastating news. There is so much more for them to go through. Savannah is still the legal guardian of her two younger siblings, Chloe and Grayson. Are they still together? Savannah Chrisley was dating Robert Shiver at one time. However, they could still be dating. Fans are dying to know if they are still together. However, Savannah has not posted about him in a while. Fans suspect this could be due to Robert's ex-wife being on trial. She allegedly tried to kill him. Fans gave their thoughts on Reddit. There are a lot of speculations regarding the relationship. Robert's social media is private, so if he is posting Savannah, no one can see besides his followers. Savannah may also want to keep the relationship private due to fame getting in the way. It seems that no one really knows if the two of them are still together. Savannah has not posted about him in a long time. However, some people think that they could be keeping it private until Robert's ex-wife finishes her trial for trying to kill him. They could have called it quits during this difficult time for Savannah, though. Savannah Chrisley sat on the patio of her Nashville townhouse, her golden retriever, Maverick, curled by her feet, as her phone buzzed with yet another notification. The tabloids were relentless. Are Savannah Chrisley and Robert Shiver still together? The headline flashed across the screen of her iPhone, accompanied by a photo of the couple from 6 months ago, smiling, radiant, hand in hand on the red carpet at a charity gala. But the reality behind that glossy photo, far more complicated. Savannah sighed and turned the phone face down. Ever since she and Robert Shiver went public with their relationship, things have been a whirlwind. Fans have been fascinated by the unlikely pairing. Savannah, a reality TV darling turned podcast host and advocate for her incarcerated parents, and Robert, the former college football star who made national headlines after surviving an alleged murder-for-hire plot involving his ex-wife in the Bahamas. Their story had all the makings of a Southern fairy tale: heartbreak, redemption, scandal, and sudden fame. But was that enough to sustain a real relationship? They met by chance, or fate, depending on who you ask, at a charity golf tournament in Atlanta. Robert had just begun rebuilding his life, shaken but standing, while Savannah was juggling legal appeals, raising her little brother Grayson and niece Chloe, and trying to stay grounded in a world that never stopped spinning. The two hit it off instantly. Robert was calm, protective, with a Southern charm that reminded Savannah of home. Savannah was fiery, ambitious, a force of nature, exactly the kind of energy Robert never knew he needed. They bonded over their shared grief, their complicated pasts, and their desire for peace after chaos. For months, they were inseparable. From quiet nights in Nashville to weekend getaways in the Carolinas, they looked every bit the power couple, even if Robert remained noticeably absent from Savannah's social media at times. Some things are better kept sacred, she'd once said on her podcast Unlocked, when asked why she didn't post about him as much. Not everything has to be for the gram. But not everyone agreed. Rumors began swirling, claims that Robert was uncomfortable with the spotlight, or that Savannah's deep emotional ties to her family that created the divide. It was timing. By the spring, Savannah was knee-deep in court filings trying to reduce Julie's prison sentence, organizing rallies, and co-parenting Chloe, who had begun to ask tough questions about her grandparents. Meanwhile, Robert was opening a wellness gym franchise in Florida, focusing on his sons and continuing therapy to heal from his traumatic past. Sometimes, Savannah confided to her friend Emily one night over wine, "Loving someone doesn't mean you're meant to do life together right now." Still, they tried. They met halfway. Literally and figuratively, Savannah would fly to Palm Beach when she could. Robert drove to Nashville when his boys were with their grandparents. They had deep talks about the future. Whether marriage was on the table, how they'd blend families, whether Robert could handle the relentless media storm that came with being a Chrisley in-law. The answers weren't always easy, and yet, the love, that part never faded. Then came June. Robert was invited to speak at a men's mental health summit in Texas, a huge honor. Savannah was prepping for her parents' appeal hearing and also being courted by a network for a possible Chrisley Knows Best reboot focused on her new life. Their schedules clashed. Tempers flared. "I just don't know where I fit in your life anymore," Robert told her one night after a particularly tense call. "You're everything, Robert," she insisted. "But I'm in survival mode. I can't breathe without 14 people needing something from me." There was silence. Then softly, Robert replied, "And I need you too." They didn't officially break up. There were no social media statements, no unfollows, no dramatic podcast confessionals. Instead, there was space, vast and uncertain. Savannah focused on Chloe's school summer camp and launching her new beauty brand, Savvy Soul. Robert poured into his business and coaching youth football. Friends close to the couple said it felt like a pause, not an ending. A love neither was ready to give up on, but also not able to fully nurture in the chaos. Still, eagle-eyed fans noticed. Savannah hadn't mentioned Robert in weeks. He hadn't liked her latest 4th of July reel. And that viral clip from her podcast, where she said, "I've learned that not all love stories end the way you think, but that doesn't make them any less beautiful," that hit way too close to home. So, are Savannah Chrisley and Robert Shiver still together? The answer might depend on what your definition of together is. They still talk. They still care. They still cheer for one another in quiet, private ways, through texts, late-night voice notes, shared memories that haven't faded. But physically, emotionally, publicly? Maybe not for now. Maybe their story isn't finished, just on a commercial break. Maybe life has a funny way of bringing people back around when they're ready. Or maybe their time was a beautiful, redemptive chapter in each other's healing journeys. A reminder that even after the worst storms, love can bloom. And if that's the case, if their forever wasn't meant to be, then they've both made peace with that. Because in the messy, unpredictable saga of Savannah Chrisley's life, Robert Shiver will always be a name written in bold. Not because of the headlines, but because of the quiet love that helped her through the noise. And maybe, just maybe, that's the kind of love worth holding onto, even from afar.